My camera angle is the worst one of them, but we got at least 2 that are good. Yours is bitchin'. You look bitchin'.
I know.
You're
I
very
look like
bitchin'.
a lima bean.
A lima bean? I was gonna say you look like a lime.
Do you remember lima beans?
No.
When we were kids, like sometimes my mom would like scooch them on our plates to get our nutrients, and we'd call them cardboard beans, and we hated eating them. So we'd like take turns like shoving them across like to like each other's plates.
So it was like passing the lima bean.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want the nutrients.
Or they'd be on the ground.
Do you regret not eating those lima beans?
I don't think so. I think I turned out all right.
You turned out as a lima bean, to be honest.
Yeah. And with our gin and tonics, though, it's perfect.
Right. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to the podcast. Welcome, Kristina. How are you?
I'm good. Be better after one more of these.
Yeah. Do you think you'd be better after a couple more toots? Because you were farting a lot before.
No, I was doing that in private in the bedroom.
That was the first time you were like, hold on, Declan, we can't hit record yet. I got to go and fart.
No, I was like, these can't be going off during this.
First off, you're never going to actually hear them. But also, I had never actually heard one of your farts
yes,
until.
You have.
No, not until there.
After like a long drive. You're holding it in for 5 hours and you get home. But
That's what yours just sounded like now.
But
Something like that.
Your favorite move is to get comfortable in the car seat and then just let it release. Windows up. God forbid the windows are rolled down. Never the case.
How terrible is it when I abruptly roll the windows down and I just
I
farted.
prefer that the windows are going down versus you hotboxing me to death, which is like the alternative and what is normally happening. So.
Classic hotbox. God forbid. God forbid. Wait, let me make sure that this isn't filming in 4K.
What?
Well,
no, why is my eye watering still?
We're good. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, but for real.
What an intro.
What an intro. But I think, did you get all your farts out? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Are you going to be farting on this episode?
I hope not. And if there is, let's cut it out.
We can't cut farts. We actually don't really cut anything on the Backpocket. I don't know if you've ever listened to the podcast.
Like maybe 5 minutes one time.
Yeah, wait. Okay.
I just don't, I don't want my perspective to be jaded. And that was like, thing one with this is like, I can't listen to the podcast before I really get to know you because then I'm going to like formulate an opinion of you that's maybe not accurate or like I don't want to have. I don't want to have anything preconceived.
See, that's fair. It's interesting you say that because girls that I've known of like my good friends have used the podcast to get a legitimate perspective of that person. Like Mark Amick. You met Mark.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, Madison, who you also met, right?
Yeah.
She listened to the Backpocket. I don't know for how long, but listened to like she was listening to our podcast for a while, and then Mark came on and she was like, oh, I really like this guy. Or I think this guy's a cool dude, or I think she found him from Instagram and then ended up going back and listening to all his episodes to get the perspective. Sorry, the perspective. Burps and farts on this pod.
There's just like a gaseous environment. Like, what is happening?
We are farting a lot in this RV.
We haven't even had dinner yet. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what it is.
But so you purposely didn't listen to the podcast before you met me?
No. I didn't know.
Okay.
I mean, maybe like years ago.
Years ago?
Well.
The 5 minutes you did listen to? What one did you listen to? Do you remember?
Gosh, no. I did listen to one and I like remember being like taken back and.
Yes, we have yet to talk about this.
No, and I haven't told you like. Oh, I'm not going to get into it.
Right. We don't need to get into it, but your words were, hey, Declan, I listened to the podcast and I listened to it and I didn't like something that you said about it. Or I didn't like what you said on the podcast, period. And that's all I've known since you've made that remark.
Yeah. I think we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to dive into it. I don't remember what episode it was.
You don't remember at all?
No, nor do I want to.
Okay. That's fair. That's totally fair. So, okay, so that's interesting though. I didn't realize I mean, obviously not an avid fan of the Backpocket, but eventually became an avid fan of me, fair to say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm your biggest fan now. What can I say? Here I am.
Biggest fan. Wow.
I'm in the RV.
Yeah, #1 fangirl here, Kristina, joining the podcast live from the RV. Oh gosh, how crazy! What a story!
What a story!
What a story! I think back to it often. It's always like a good reminder to just like remember where you came from or how it started, maybe,
right?
Because it's just so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what was like the biggest, like, okay, this is what I'm most interested in between these three things: the mullet, the mustache, or the RV. Which one was the most enticing?
Well, I asked you. I said before I come down there, you better not get rid of the mullet. I need the mullet. I don't know. I think that they all complement each other, and it's like a full package deal. So it's like I needed the mullet, and then I was like, well, don't shave the mustache. Because the mustache complements the mullet. And then, just rogue RV lifestyle is just like right up my alley. It speaks everything. So.
Okay. Sweet. And for the listeners who don't know, or the interns, I should say, all if you didn't know this, Kristina, all listeners of Backpocket, of the Backpocket podcast, they are interns of the Backpocket. They're marketing interns because they spread the message and the good word of Backpocket through word of mouth. So they're road warriors per se. So I'm assuming your brother or your dad will become interns shortly after this episode.
Oh my gosh!
Do you think they'll listen to this episode? I hope Tom and Ro get their ears
I know.
on this.
We'll put them on when we're with them next month.
Good,
yeah.
Good. I like that idea. But nonetheless, to build some context, Kristina is my girlfriend. And obviously #1 fan. Kristina is my #1 fan and my girlfriend. Is that how I should say it?
Sure.
Sure. But anyways, we met through. It was. I basically saw you. I never actually met you 2 years ago at a book signing. And then fast forward to last year, May 5th specifically.
Cinco de Mayo.
Mm-hmm. I infiltrated your DMs. About a limoncello reference. Limoncello LaCroix.
LaCroix.
That's
the best flavor.
The best flavor.
Yeah.
And, I guess it started from there, fair to say. Because after that, we were just trading seltzer reviews pretty much the rest of the summer. Mm-hmm. And then the Pinnacle Day, November 29th into the November 30th, Kristina fires over the...
no, this was not me.
This was not you. This was me.
You initiated this one.
I initiated. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna pull it out and recap.
My phone's recording.
No, this is when. Oh, you're right. This is when I said.
Where's your phone?
I don't know. Over the.
It's really irrelevant. We can paraphrase. The girlfriends kept calling, so. Gotta put the phone away.
Over there.
See, this is who now. Louds is gonna definitely be listening, and she's gonna be like,
"Well, Louds is gonna listen anyway." She already called me gin and tonic girl with this outfit, so
you are gin and tonic girl. You look exactly like a G&T.
Yeah, I'm embodying my drink.
You are embodying your drink, and these are phenomenal, by the way. You made some stiffies in the day.
I know. I topped mine off.
Yeah,
gave it a little floater.
Great work, but you paraphrase what happened. Yeah, I just remember it was November 29th because we looked at the DMs prior to like get an organization of how this all went down. But nonetheless.
Well, this was it was all kind of just like a serendipitous thing. Like, I don't know. One night I was literally like thinking about you. I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking about Declan. It makes no sense. We weren't close. Like, we hadn't been talking in like 3 months. Like, it had been
By the way,
time.
our DMs were very lighthearted. Like, they were just like, hey, try this new White
oh my
Claw.
Gosh. They were like, no, they weren't lighthearted. They were like voice memos, descriptions, but like they were
entertaining.
That's all it was. Like, it was like, try this. Like, the effervescence is amazing.
Yeah.
And then it was like pretty surface level.
Very surface level. I just remember you were I would show my friends the DMs you and I were sending each other just because I thought it was super cool that you and I were just trading. I was like, yeah, look at this girl I DM. All we do burping again. We're gonna be burping and farting all over this podcast. I'll be burping. My girlfriend and number one fan, Kristina, will be farting all episode.
My eye is watering.
And we might even cry a little bit too. We might even cry. We might even get that in there too.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's cry together on this thing, huh?
God. Maybe if we put Brené Brown in the middle of us.
Brené Brown. Christ. Let's have Brené Brown in the background. Just let's be watching her Netflix special and see what happens.
Oh my gosh. Where were we at? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was like, for some reason, Declan's on my mind 3 months later after us like not talking. And I didn't know why. And the next morning, I don't know. You made a move on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I liked a few photos.
You liked a few photos. It was like randomly. A Friday morning. And then I slid into your DM and I said something. And
I was in Colorado. I was running outside. It was like 36 degrees. And I was running around the neighborhood with my shirt off. Little Embrace North action. Just, wanted to feel something. Post Thanksgiving, let's shed the weight as fast as we possibly can. And what better way to do it than run around with your shirt off?
Yeah.
And I think I filmed a video, and then you responded to that like, everyone thinks we're compatible.
Yeah.
And what did I say again? It wasn't great.
It was a terrible response. It was literally like, yeah, we vibe. And I was
agree,
like,
we vibe.
Oh, this is so gross and terrible. I was like, I just hate that response. So I didn't say anything. I was like, I got to dust this comment because he needs to think of something better.
Did you put me in like DM timeout? Because I feel like you didn't talk to me. Well, maybe you did.
I kind of did. And then Teets was like, of course, Teets was filled in. Teets was like, yuck, like what a nasty Gen Z comment.
Very nasty Gen Z. Very nasty.
And then, I don't know. And then you circled back with like something better that like redeemed the initial statement. So.
I agree, we vibe totally.
No, it wasn't. It was something better. And then I confessed that I was going to be coming to Phoenix in February.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I expanded upon it. I was like, hey, you need to get down to AZ so we could just mess around,
Yeah,
and
you did say something like that.
Something along those lines, and you're like, you won't believe it. I'll be in Arizona in February.
Yep.
I'll be in Scottsdale. And I was like, well, when am I going to pick you up from the airport?
Right.
And that was it. Then I picked you up from the airport, and in between then, we had started Snapchatting or whatever, which by the way is very, very interesting because texting is so shitty.
Well,
it's a lot of effort,
especially like if you don't know someone as much. Like I don't know. I think texting is a lot more pressure, and we were like kind of like sending each other like paragraphs over Christmas, and it was like, all right, like let's just reel it in. And we were still doing like the voice messages.
Exhausting.
It was a lot.
Sending each other voice memos and then, back and forth.
Entertaining your family.
Yeah.
Our separate families.
Sneaking away and like recording a voice memo.
Oh my gosh.
And then like
I'd
mine
be, like,
don't save.
Peeing, like with a drink in my hand, doing a voice memo.
Yeah, always in the bathroom.
Always.
Because you can't be caught sending a lovey-dovey voice memo to some guy you don't know.
I know. I think, but a climactic moment during Christmas was when I tore my rotator cuff, and
still torn.
It is still torn, but.
And Kristina gets mad at me anytime I'm like, well, hey, why don't we just, try this shoulder exercise and see what happens? She's like, will you ever leave me alone? Can you leave me alone for once? We're like doing yoga the other day, and we were about getting ready to do like these weird shoulder rotation. Like we're doing the little, like we're in lunge, and then you like reach up to the sky with one hand. And I'm like, hey, Kristina, wouldn't hurt to reach up to the sky. Maybe rotate that shoulder around. Declan, why are you always coming after me? What are you doing? Anyways, so you tore your rotator cuff.
Right.
Supposedly.
And I don't know if we hadn't like talked in like a few days or something, and then I just hit you with a random picture of like me in a sling in a bar.
Teary-eyed.
Teary-eyed in a bar.
You're like, dudes are hitting on me. I'm like, sweet.
No, I did not say that.
You said something along those lines.
No, it was too early to like use that as bait or
Fellas
something.
buying you drinks. Asking
in the
what
background
happened.
of the photo, though, to my credit, there were two guys pointing at me with beers in their hand, and they had just given me like it was a disgusting shot. It was like absolute horseradish or like something that belongs in a Bloody Mary.
Something that belongs on Lutzen or whatever the hell you were.
No. I was in Wisconsin. No, I don't want to admit this where this accident happened.
It was literally on a
It
hill.
was on the mountains out west, the big mountains. It was
No, because
not
you
in Wisconsin.
No,
at
because-
Trollhagen.
tell the truth,
Why
okay?
is my eye always
We're gonna be
watering?
crying on this podcast. We're gonna be farting a lot, and we're gonna be telling the truth, okay? And the first thing is you fell on a hill, and that's okay. That's okay. The fact that you tried is great, and we're gonna get you
What
better.
do you mean tried?
I don't know. I think you tried.
No, this was it was like -7 outside and icy.
A little icy. Okay.
And icy, and I had been snowboarding since I was 6.
Okay.
So this is
you made an
not-
honest mistake.
Right. So
We just got to, I mean, I think these are your words, not mine, because I don't believe this, but you did say this verbatim. You said our relationship depends on my ability to ski or snowboard.
it does. It does. You're from Colorado. We're going to go out there someday, and
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to make it happen.
I'm actually legitimately nervous for that first day we all go out because I know so much in my heart that we're going to go out there and I'm so committed to the good boyfriend move. I'm sticking with you all day because you're my sweet, sweet girlfriend and you need all the support you can get out there on this scary mountain. And I need to be there for you.
For clarity, I've been snowboarding since I was a kid. I want to learn to ski.
Oh,
So I'm making a switch.
even better. The plot
you know
thickens.
this though. Like
I
this
know.
is for the listeners.
I know this for the interns.
Let's hope my brother is there because he'll be just like an extra dose of patience.
Right. But
Um,
I need to lead the charge on the patience train as well
For
as your
sure.
sweet, sweet boyfriend because I need to be there for you and I need to be hard as a rock. I need to be making sure you're okay and not making bad moves that are selfish because I know for a fact that the day we show up for the first time, it's going to be like the perfect powder day. And I'm going to be like, I can't believe I'm racing down greens with my sweet, sweet girlfriend and I love her to death and I need her to, and I hope she can learn how to ski and I hope everything's okay. And I'm going to be racing ahead of you on accident and I'm going to be waiting for you to come down the mountain and I'm going to be teaching you along the way, but it's going to eat me alive. I know it.
No.
It's going to eat me alive.
I would let you have your day if it was like a sweet powder day. I would let you have
Not
that.
your first day though.
I would let you have it.
I know you would theoretically, but that's just not how it's going to work. Like we're going to have that day
Also,
together.
I'm accustomed to like my dad being on the hill with me as like a kid
Yeah.
and my dad being like, all right, well, see you at the bottom. And so it's like,
Right.
all right, I guess I'm going to figure out how to get myself down the hill.
Right, you have a history of
Because my
dusting.
dad's at the bottom of the hill.
Okay. Yes, you have a history
So,
of dusting.
That's how my
Understandable.
family rolls. It's just like baptism by fire.
Right.
There's So I only require so much patience, I guess.
Yes, but I think just from a learning standpoint, I really need to be there. I think I need to show up.
Yeah,
I need to show up.
you do. Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of showing up, so Kristina shows up. She walks out of the sliding doors of the airport, and I'm sitting there, February 1st, 2021, and haven't thought much about this offer I had made you to pick you up from the airport. Honestly, I was just like, yeah, it'd be great to meet you. It'd be great to take you on a date. We had been talking and Snapchatting again. Because we had evolved, we had done the texting, we had done the audio messages, and
Mhm.
all were taking way too much time, and we landed on like 3 Snapchats a day probably.
Right.
And then through that communication, Kristina tells me that she is flying in with a bunch of friends. They're going to be there for a couple months, and but she's interested in the fact that I'm living full on in an RV, and I don't know how it all happened, but you were like, I want to come and like stay in the RV, or
I was like, I want to come spend like a night in the RV and check it out. And you were like, I'm literally in the middle of the desert. Like, there's nothing here. And I hope you like realize that. And I was like, I don't think you realize how much grit I have. Like, I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Supposedly you had a history already of like roughing it during quarantine in a RV without a shower. You're doing bucket showers.
This wasn't even an RV. This goes back to like one of the questions that came in, kind of. Anyways, we can get back to it later.
What question came in?
It's just like about, you know, using the bathroom here and the whole.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
We can get into that later.
We will get to that.
But yeah, I like in the heat of quarantine, I was in a rustic cabin up north, no running water. Nothing. And so like for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was like, I'm equipped like more than anybody for this.
And so I just see you as this like
me into it.
Cute little girl who's like, oh yeah, I'll give it a whiff, you know, like I'll try this whole RV thing. And I'm like, you know, based on my prior knowledge of women, like I'm nervous for her. But turns out you're way ahead of me.
Well, you were very nervous also because I think you had a fear of like being hospitable, which is like not something you're great at. I mean, you don't know how to cook. There were some things that you were like, I'm like, you know, we need to go grocery shopping. There's some things that I could see making you nervous. It's like,
totally.
How am I going to feed this woman in the middle of the desert?
Oh, yeah.
You know, is there going to be enough water? Is there going to be, are there going to be the resources to put her into this?
Right.
And then I said to you, like, don't worry, all my friends are here, so like let's just see how we do for like a day.
And one day passed. And then another day passed.
I know, I think I spent like 2 nights here.
2 nights and you left, honestly.
Yeah, but for other reasons.
Yeah. It was the second you walked in this RV, it was like we were already like really good friends.
It was really weird.
We were very comfortable.
It was so comfortable. There was never a weird moment. It was like, oh, like I feel totally comfortable just like jumping into my night routine. Like I walked into the door and there's a picture of me coming in the RV door, and it's just like I'd been here before, like no problem. So
literally like seconds within entering, I took a picture of you.
Yeah.
And that sounds very weird.
It doesn't
sound great.
Weird. Also, this was after like a couple margaritas.
Yeah. We tore it up at the local pedal house.
But that's not why it was comfortable. It was comfortable because of who we are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, it was great. And I mean, long story short, you haven't left, like more or less. Like you left because of the Wi-Fi situation. You had an interview.
Right.
So we the fellas back in Scottsdale literally paid for a hotel for you to like go and have this interview, and then it was like complete hot girl shit.
Yeah.
Which we need to absolutely address the hot girl shit, because I was not aware of hot girl shit until I met you. Like full on was not.
I mean, Declan dating me has totally expanded his worldview. No. No, I mean,
I'm cultured.
I've really enhanced his hot girl shit. Like, and by that meaning, like, I don't know if it was the second weekend I was here, but I was like, how about we have an Aperol Spritz at brunch? And so we got those flowing, and then, you know, there's...
Which, hold on, if you could explain what a Aperol Spritz is. I would say the majority of listeners listening do not.
I think a lot of people know.
The majority interns listening do not know.
I think a lot of people know what an Aperol Spritz is, but it's, you normally use Prosecco, which is like a semi-sweet champagne, and then put ice cubes in there. You'll put Aperol, which is an Italian like citrus liqueur, and then you normally top it off with like a little club soda. So it's great. It's a nice, you know, brunch drink if you don't want a mimosa.
Yeah, it's totally bitchin'.
Yeah, with a little more of a kick.
Yeah, it's great, and it's hot girl shit.
I don't know. Yeah, we call that hot girl shit.
Yeah, my favorite hot girl shit though is when you get overwhelmed because there's so many different things and functions that you could possibly go to at a moment in time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, where can I go? And it's overwhelming. And you're like, I'm so stressed out. You know, do I go to this pool party? Do I go to this bar? Oh, this guy's going skydiving in a couple minutes and he wants me to come along. And it's overwhelming. I mean, being a part of that selection process, I was like, well, skydiving sounds great. I've never done it before, but like also the pool party.
I threw you right into it too that first weekend because so I escaped to Scottsdale to do my interview and like stay with some of my friends that were here. And then you were out there and we met up. And then we just immediately got thrown into the hot girl shit. Like I was like, well, we had this dinner, but there's this pool event. And
like, I hope we can maybe meet up at dinner thing, you know. So and so has the reservation and like could possibly add one extra person.
Oh my god.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Where at?
And then the next day we went to another pool event on the Sunday.
We snuck into a hotel.
We did.
The Scott,
which is
place.
such a beautiful hotel.
So bitchin'.
Like exactly. Cocktails by the pool.
$15 cocktails by the pool.
Yeah, it's like Las Vegas prices.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
But nonetheless great. You're also forgetting an important part because you had, I knew I had it in the bag. I knew I had it in the bag when Kristina's like, oh, I got to go and do this, Scottsdale thing for my interview. You could have easily just like accidentally packed all your bags and never showed up again. But like you left almost all of your things.
I left a bag. I left a big bag here because I knew I was coming back. Why did I already know I was coming back?
I don't know, but you did. And I was a big, and as a guy, guy who's picking up on clues, I'm like, she has to come back. She's got her bag here. It's sitting on the second bunk.
See, there's always comfort in leaving, like, if, like, someone else's bag is at your place, you're like, oh, they'll be back.
I'll be back.
It's like a comfort thing. Not to mention, like, you wore my shirt out in Scottsdale.
That's what I'm saying.
Which was such a bold move. Like,
bold, but also necessary.
But, like, you knew I was coming back, too, because you were wearing my shirt. So it's, like, obviously,
the signal was sent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now again, my shirts and my apparel, like this one I'm wearing here, I made this shirt. It says "Bring back mullets" for the listeners, for the interns. Sorry, keep screwing that up. But nonetheless, I don't have a lot of good shirts. And then you came in here, and the weirdest thing is that you have a lot of shirts that fit me, which is a fun thing. It's great. You're a great resource.
Yeah.
So now I have like 4 or 5 shirts that fit me because you like the baggy look.
Either like my clothes are really form fitting and like feminine, or they're like full on tomboy,
right.
And we can share the same shirts.
Right. So I was wearing one of your shirts out there, and it was sick. But yeah, it's literally been nonstop since then, which is like so crazy.
Yeah.
Feels a little fast in the sense of like. It still feels like I just met you for the first time because it's been 4 or 5 months, but at the same time, it's also felt like we've been dating for like a billion years.
Yeah, I can't believe we're coming out of 5 months. Like, I think it was maybe like late February or March, and we're like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense for you to be paying rent in Minnesota. Like,
yeah, you moved out of your place like end of March.
Like
I'm done with this.
We decided, we're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, and
now
here
I
we
got
are.
a roommate.
Yeah.
Which that's my argument. Like, obviously, my parents are going to be absolutely freaked out that we're living together. Like,
yeah,
call it what it is, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, your parents will be. My parents are.
Dude,
there's no rules in my household.
No parents, no rules.
We're gonna get into that.
We're gonna get into that
in a little bit.
This whole RV experience, this whole living situation that we have is literally the definition of no parents, no rules.
Yeah,
but
it's the best.
But like, I mean, I would say my parents, amongst many other people in general, are like, dang, he just like moved in with like this girl just moved in with him after X amount of months, and now it's like, first off, mom, dad, and other people. Financial move, phenomenal move on my end. things are better when you split it. But then also like, if it was a problem, like you would have known far more before I would have known, because you're good at reading people and you're smart.
Yeah.
You're a wizard. You're an absolute wizard. Me on the other hand, not as much, but at least like there were cues from you that I knew where I was like, okay, this is actually gonna work, because I've had relationships in the past where it's like I just get sucked full of energy. Or the energy gets sucked out of me.
I'm the same way.
I'm having to spend time with said girlfriend because, we need time together and we need this. And this sounds terrible and conceited, but I need to spend time with her. Otherwise, like she's bored or something, or like I can't.
Yeah, you always feel like when you're like the energy provider, which we're both super high energy people, and that's like something that like really gravitated me towards you.
We're both power plants when it comes to energy.
Yeah, and so it's like, gosh, it feels so good to be with someone that like, if I'm having a low energy day, like you're there to like spark me up, and like vice versa. Like, and so I think that we concluded that immediately, and then also like we're both incredibly independent and have a lot going on, and so
yes,
I think like if you're with someone that has like less going on than you, like, it's going to be taxing, because you're going to be like worried about like, what are they doing? And like, how do I need to like fuel them? And, whereas like you and I, like, we're just always going. And so we don't need to like rely on one another as a crutch, but like we're there for each other, like to celebrate each other's wins.
Oh, totally. And the best part, one of the first things you said to me, like Matt Herron on one of the last podcasts was like, Declan, your Instagram stories were like so bad. Like you were clearly bored, like,
yeah.
And I use that as an example of the fact that like you kind of had an idea of who you were getting involved with going into it. And like one of the first things you said was like, Declan, like, hey, I'm here to like get to know you, and like, I appreciate you for who you are as a person, but like, I'm not here to control you. I'm not here to like, I'm here to let you play around. I think like you're going to play around, and I'm just going to let you do that.
Yeah.
Now, all I ask, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but all I ask is that you respect me and that you love me, and like that you show appreciation. And I think, granted, I have probably made some moves where you're like, okay, Declan, you're kind of disrespecting me right now. Like this, do you see how this could be disrespectful? Like Kristina very much lays it out to me where it's like a power play. It's like, okay, you did this. Next slide. And then this is how I felt. And then next slide. And here's where we are. And it's like, okay, great. But you understand what I'm saying. Like I understood early on that you were very much an independent person. So like when I had to do podcasts on a Thursday night or whatever, like you were like, oh, perfect. I'm going to go do my own thing. Like,
right.
See you later. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think that's why it works so well. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's like I look forward to like my opportunities to escape by myself, whereas like, because we know how to use like our individual time. Right.
Because and again, your wins are my wins and vice versa, and that's because like, you have your career and what you're trying to do with, you got your 9 to 5 that pays the bills, and you're trying to become a God damn it.
What is it?
Just like a holistic no. I always just say gut nutritionist. I know that's not what it is, but I mean,
that's like my main interest, I guess.
You're getting into the consultant aspect of like gut
functional
health.
Nutrition.
Functional nutrition.
Yeah, it's mind, body, spirit. So it's just like the all encompassing like look at your body versus like Western medicine. Like let's treat the symptom. Functional nutrition is like, well, let's treat the problem.
Right.
And like, what are your lifestyle factors and everything else going on that's like contributing to the problem?
Right.
Versus just like, here's a prescription drug.
Correct. And you're working towards like the certification so that you can legally start consulting with people.
Yeah.
At that point. And then your goal, more or less, and you can tell me more about this because we talk about this all the time. But you want to basically get into the consulting game at that point. Start a brand, or and maybe not start a brand, but start something to where you're acquiring clients and you're coaching up clients, making impacts, nerding out on.
I know, I love
different
it.
people's
I
guts.
can nerd out on it forever.
Yeah,
I love it. So
help my gut out in the
Your
process.
gut needs a lot of help. I mean, mine needs help tonight, I guess.
We all need help with our
Should
gut.
take another probiotic.
Yeah, that's what you recommend to everybody, right?
I mean,
Probiotics?
if you're gonna take any vitamin, take a probiotic because your gut bacteria regulates everything in your body.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you did just learn this last night, and I want to ask this question, knowing that you learned this last night. So when people say like trust your gut, they actually mean trust your gut because your gut is connected to your brain. How is your gut connected to your brain, Kristina?
So your GI tract has its own neurological system.
What's a GI tract?
It's like your whole digestive system.
Okay.
So if you have a food intolerance, like because there's like a neurological system down there, like that'll flare up in other parts of your body. So like if I'm gluten intolerant, it could show up as anxiety and depression in my brain. And skin issues, like it can show up anywhere. So like your body's so interconnected in that way, and I think it's like so fascinating to like learn about the psychological connection to like what you put in your body and like how you're feeling your body. So I'm excited to keep learning more about that and then like eventually help people, because I used to have a lot of food intolerances too. And that's why I'm so fired up about it.
Yeah.
So
because you did like the whole you've talked to me about this in the past, but like you were like you couldn't eat gluten, right?
I love you recapping like anything. Yeah, no, I was intolerant to like everything. Literally everything, like dairy, gluten, eggs, peanuts.
Having fun.
You name it. You name it, I was intolerant to it. And so I had to do an elimination diet, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And I did that. And now I can pretty much eat everything but peanuts. I still can't have peanuts.
Yeah, so which is tough when we like enter the trail mix aisle, but like for some reason you are firing on all cylinders when it comes to the trail mix aisle. Like
there's ways to get around it.
We get there and I feel anxiety. I'm like, God damn, I see all these nice things with peanuts in it, and I'm like, I can't pick these things out. And all of a sudden, like you're like, oh yeah, let's get this almond cashew cranberry chocolate mix.
Well, that was at Target. I get frustrated with Whole Foods because they don't have a lot of like, okay, if they have like cashews and almonds, it's in like this boring mix. Like it's like there's like, I don't want to eat like 900 cranberries and rack up those carbs.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
No.
And then the other option is like, if I want, chocolate chips, well, I have to have peanuts. So Whole Foods has to figure that out. That's my complaint. But Target has it figured out.
Yeah. I think people need to be more inclusive, or Whole Foods at least specifically. Target has it figured out. That's good to know.
Yeah.
It's good to know. So shop at Target, right?
Well, yeah.
I
can't dispute it.
Yeah, you can't dispute it because you work for Target.
I work there.
Because you work for Target. My favorite story about Kristina working for Target. Kristina works at Target. We shop at Target sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
And one time we were walking into Target, and Kristina had told me prior that she and her team had been working on the dollar section layout and how it's been.
It's called Bullseye's Playground, like right when you walk in the front of the store.
Bullseye's Playground.
Yeah.
Perfect. And let me tell you, it's a goddamn playground because everything is goddamn everywhere. Always. Or at least it was before you guys took on the project, and maybe that's why you were assigned the project, because it was an absolute dumpster fire, and then they're like, why don't we have Kristina's team take this over and fix it up? Well, anyways, I guess this Target hadn't had it figured out yet. Because we walk in there.
I don't control the inventory. I don't work on inventory.
Right.
I will defend myself on that part.
But you're part of the corporation who represents it. So by association, I would say you're responsible.
Okay.
So anyways, we walk into this Target, and of course the first thing you see is Bullseye's Playground. And I go, very loudly, oh man, who runs this dollar section? This thing's an absolute dumpster fire. And one of the ladies who was working and happened to walk by, she goes, oh, I don't know, probably someone at corporate.
And she like yells it, like she exclaims it.
And I go, oh really? That's interesting.
And then you turn to me and grill me. Like,
I just gave you like this awesome smile. Like, interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, what a memory.
What a mem. One of my faves. One of my other faves, though, I do have to. I know we talked about my parents and probably them being super freaked out. Probably get a phone call or two after this, on us living together. But 3 weeks into us dating, I show up at Tom Harold. Your dad is in town. Nice to meet you, Tom. You know, I had to run through the video multiple times. Friday of the day, making sure that I know how to shake this guy's hand. Wearing my dumb Yoko Ono
oh my gosh,
sunglasses.
Those freaky, mousy 90s
You
glasses.
bought them.
Yeah, but we were like perusing Amazon randomly. And we're like, all right.
Yeah. You peruse Amazon randomly.
I guess it's my fault
often.
that you own them.
Every Amazon delivery guy is going to be listening to this podcast because they deliver here and they know who you are. And they're like, oh, yeah, if Kristina's on the podcast, the Amazon girl. They're like, oh, they know exactly who you are. Anyways, I had to meet your dad, 3 weeks in. So I shouldn't say I had to. I got to. Tom Harold rocks.
But the thing is, okay, so this is a testament to our relationship. I was like, I feel comfortable enough with you that, like, let's just throw you in and meet my family immediately.
Yeah. Wait, actually, now that I tilt it that way, now talk.
Yeah.
Way better.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, thrown right into the fire.
Yeah.
Honestly. Thrown right into the fire. Had to meet Tom Harold. I was nervous. Had to make a video. And just walk through this idea of like, wow, meeting Kristina's dad today with, his and the extended family. Like this is a big deal. 3 weeks in, wasn't really expecting it. And Tom was all fired up about it. I mean, he had no questions.
I mean, my dad is the biggest extrovert I've ever known in my whole life. Like, you're extroverted. My dad is like off the E chart. Like, unbelievable.
And we love him for it.
Yeah.
And I remember I had the those dumb sunglasses like on on like the collar of my shirt, and we were outside, and someone made a comment about it being super sunny. Like had spoken to probably 8 words to this.
No, I think you were like, it's sunny out, and then my dad goes, my dad has an accent. We don't know like why, he just does. He's like, yeah. He says before everything also. He's like, well, you got sunglasses clipped to your shirt. And then
why you wear those sunglasses?
That's what he sounds like. And they're those puny little glasses. And then my stepsister goes, yeah, what kind of makes sense because you have small eyes.
I got small eyes and I have small hands too.
Yeah, they're tiny.
So like speaking of first impressions, because I know that was one of the questions, was that like a big concern?
Someone asked you about your hands?
No, someone asked like, oh, really, really cute. You're having your sweet, sweet girlfriend on. Like, any first impressions? Like, how was it? How was that?
I didn't immediately examine your hands because
I know, but like our hands are literally the same size.
They're almost the same size, and I have very small hands.
Right.
My
hands are.
I didn't notice them because they were too busy fumbling with my bags in the back of the trunk.
Oh, shut up!
When I first got here.
Quit it.
But no, they are small, but it's okay because you're like 6'2", so.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you don't think it's a big deal.
I don't care.
Good.
No.
Very nice. But I think so your dad's a legend. Full on a legend.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need to actually go grab your phone.
I know. Where is I have no idea where it is.
Just go find it. I'll do an intro for your dad because we need to segue to this exact moment because it's so important. So Kristina's dad, I got to know him, absolute rip-roaring guy, kind of a replica of myself in terms of just being the ultimate extrovert of all time. And, Kristina has all these amazing stories about her and her dad and growing up and whatever. And, I think it would be fair to say, and Kristina's not here to defend herself, but it'd be fair to say that Kristina was not a good kid in terms of being raised. You got into a lot of trouble when you were a kid. Is that fair to say? Or
Like
no?
a kid or like a
No, a young adult.
adolescent?
A young adult from the time you were probably 13 or 14 to the
Oh my
till now.
gosh.
You have been until about probably 24. You were a nuisance. You had a good solid decade from 14 to 24 where
You could ask.
you wreaked some havoc.
Yeah, you could ask the milieu I grew up around because I think that they would have some opinions.
Right. And for those who don't know, milieu is a group of people, right?
It's like your social environment
Your
that you were raised
social
in, and that
environment.
kind of shapes
That's right.
your viewpoint.
Yeah. You said that to me once, and
It's a great word.
it's a great word.
Yeah.
So, anyways, one of my favorite Tom Harold stories of all time.
Are we ready?
It's honestly legendary. So you set this. You tell the story. He's your father.
Yeah, so one summer, this was like, I don't want to say the year, God forbid, but this was the year that I like graduated high school. It was the summer coming out of high school, and my dad was going to Europe for a month. And so knowing that my brother and I were staying at his house and the type of people that we were at the time, he
Causing havoc.
he established a list of rules for us to abide by for the week and beyond, as he says on the instructions. And he taped it to the fridge for us to read every single morning.
So he created a list of things to do, and it said for the week in parentheses for the week and beyond.
And beyond. Yeah.
These are Tom's lessons for life.
And it's typed up on like a Word doc.
and printed out.
And printed out. And the only thing is like that he like signs his name. Like, I don't know why this is such a dad thing, but like signing your name dad in all caps is just such a power move. It's like such a like dad favorite to pull.
It's like he's like putting his foot down on paper.
He's so funny. Like if he writes us a card, like he writes our name in like bubble letters, like in these super big bubble letters, like KK. I don't know. Anyways, it's a dad thing. But yeah, he made this list of rules. Tom Harold thing. Yeah.
So he creates this set of rules.
Yep.
Can we detail the rules?
I want you to read them.
Okay.
Or I want you to go through them.
And you have the picture here. So yeah, Kristina took a picture. This is
from my Twitter.
This is from her Twitter, which is an absolute riot.
Which I would not go look at my Twitter.
And go ahead and follow Kristina Harold at Kristina Harold. Kristina with a K because she's cool as shit.
Yep.
Kristina Harold at Kristina Harold on Twitter. This was tweeted in 2011 of the summer year. So obviously Kristina and her just graduated college or high school. Sorry, I didn't want to make you that old. No. You
weren't
just
supposed to say the date at all, but here we are.
Said the date. So I just want to set the scene because you had just graduated high school. You're right in the heart of grad season. You don't have a job yet, or you're probably getting ready to start it.
Hopping around at grad parties, doing boat stuff,
just doing hot girl shit
for sure.
Because you had
I was already a hot girl.
You're already a hot girl. It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Damn, it would have been so cool to be a hot girl. But anyways, okay, so expectations, all caps. In parentheses, expectations, in parentheses, for this week and beyond. Number 1, pick up mail at box every day. Number 2, trash on Thursday. Number 3, recycling every other Thursday on the 2nd and 4th weeks of the month. Number 4, dishes and dishwasher, ... Fill up top one first. 5, clean counters. 6, mow lawn and trim with weed whipper. 7, water flower box. Check for dryness with finger. Water every 2 to 3 days. Number 8, no fireworks in car. In parentheses, pick up firework garbage. So number 8 insinuates that number 8 was going to be broken. So if you are going to fire...
It already was broken. That's why it was a rule.
You guys were firing off fireworks in a car?
Out of cars. Out of his car, which also comes up later.
Well, following number 8 is number 9. No using the Audi A8 while I'm gone. Tires need to be rotated and needs an oil change. Number 10. Kristina's passenger right low beam is out. If you drive at night, you'll be pulled over. In parentheses, it needs to be replaced. Number 11, clean bathrooms. In parentheses, mirrors, floors, counters, sinks, brush, toilet bowls.
How much time does he think we have on our hands?
This is
a full-blown cleaning service.
By the way, this is for the week. You guys got your hands full. And you were 18.
I'm crying.
Number 12, turn lights off. The electric bill was $160 last month, as if that means anything to
I
you.
have no idea how much it was like.
The concept of $160 to you means absolutely nothing. Number 13, don't go to Uptown with fake IDs, in parentheses, Kristina.
And this was the time when Uptown was so hot, girl. This is when the cafeteria was there.
Yeah, I wasn't even that old to understand that.
And my first drink with a fake ID was a blueberry mojito on the rooftop.
And
it was that same week.
So Christina's first fake ID experience scoring a drink was breaking blatantly rule number 13. Number 14, don't get drunk every night and try to effectively work. I like that he includes to try to effectively work.
Well, what was I working on? I didn't even have a job.
Was your brother working on something?
My brother was working, but like
was that more of a row thing? A Robert?
So I guess that I could follow. I guess I didn't have to follow that rule.
Okay.
Maybe that was true.
So you got drunk every night.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Number 15. We're on number 15. This is for the week and beyond. But anyways, number 15. If you run out of things to do at work, don't wait to be told what to do. Research the industry, etc. Don't make paper airplanes. What a phenomenal.
My dad loves using etc. Like for everything.
Everything. Uh-oh. Here it is. Okay. Number 16. We're getting back to the basics here. Pick up the newspaper. Number 17 and the final. 17. And do anything else that I've yelled at you for not doing, etc. So he's just going to go ahead and cover your entire life's worth of yellings to make sure that he has those covered in the byline, etc. What? Why is he saying etc. there?
Etc. I'm not kidding you.
Okay, and then he
has
signs
like a
off.
Sub note or something.
Yeah, he has in all caps "Dad" after that, like you had said before, and then I can't see it exactly, but it says "Don't leave garage doors open," pretty much. So
okay,
that was not. He must have out of all the things.
And I think
apparently it never yelled at you about that because that was covered in 17.
Yeah, if I remember this week correctly, I'm pretty sure we did get drunk almost every night, and the fire department came over because my brother left like a sausage cooking. Like he went downstairs and he left like a sausage cooking like with a lid on like in the kitchen, and the fire alarm started going up. Like the whole fire department showed up, and then he got notified because it set off like the alarm or something in the house.
Oh God.
And so
you guys were nuisances.
I've shaped up, but I've had my days. Yeah.
You for sure have your days. Speak on the top of the mic. Actually, it sounds way better.
Why do I keep doing that?
It's okay, dude. It's all right. You're crushing it.
It's the little hands.
It's a little.
Maybe I should hold it with two.
Hold it with two hands like this. It's way better.
Mm-hmm.
Legendary.
Oh my gosh.
List.
We should bring that up to him next month because that's hilarious.
Yeah, I got another big Harold legacy encounter in Colorado on my home turf. I'm nervous. I got to be honest. This is not just Tom Harold this time.
This is through my grandma.
Yep.
My grandma is like the
Helen.
matriarch, Helen Harold, the matriarch, the ringleader, the oldest one in the Harold family now. And you're going to meet her for the first time. She's about my height, Norwegian, absolute brute, cold Norwegian woman.
Cold Norwegian woman. Now we need to talk through this because, I was obviously nervous meeting your dad. I walked through, put myself on film, making sure the handshake was dialed. But, I, and you can correct me on this, but I'm really thinking about going in for the hug with Helen. She sounds cold, needs to be warmed up. I'll be there for her.
I would give Helen a hug.
Okay.
I mean, I would say she was like a cold, stern woman, like when we were younger, and then like
cold emotionally or physically.
I mean, both. I don't. Emotionally, absolutely. My brother was the first grandchild, and he was like crying, trying to sleep, and my grandma's like, "Oh, the house was 50 degrees. Like that's what she kept the house at." And my parents,
wow.
My parents were like, "Do you think you could like?" This is 1989, by the way, long time ago. My parents were like, "Do you think you could like turn the heat up in the house a little bit? Like the baby's cold and crying." And my grandma's like, just shut the lights off and he'll fall asleep.
Christ.
So that was
Helen?
my brother, the first grandchild. And then my uncle had kids that like were absolute menaces and totally broke her in. Like she was like chasing them through like halls of hotels and like, I mean, and so she's softened up a bit. And so with that being said, I would absolutely go in for the hug. I think she needs a hug.
Okay.
I'm gonna give her a hug. We're about the same height.
You're going to give her a hug.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'll give her a hug.
So I can just follow suit and she'll be like, who's this guy?
No, she's so excited to meet you.
Okay.
My brother
cool.
like queued us up really great.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ro. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I was nervous about the mullet, but then I found out your brother has long hair, so like I'm not too worried
His
about
hair's
that.
so long now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It's wild.
I'm not worried, honestly. Not worried. I don't know if I came off as worried or anything like that, but not worried.
You're not worried. I don't know why he made a comment about it. Like he was like, Declan's gonna meet grandma with a mullet. And I was like, look at your hair. And also my dad had like hippie hair like down to his butt and like rode like a crotch rocket over a
His
cross
butt.
bridge. So like I think we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think we'll be just fine. I'm not too worried, honestly.
No, she'll be excited to hear about us and our
Good.
life out here.
Yeah, we show her this podcast. Maybe she knows that she can catch up on our lives. Who knows?
Then she's gonna have to hear about her being a stern old woman and that I know.
You think that's damaging to her though? I mean, I feel like
I
you
don't
said she
think
was cold and
that
she
woman
lived in a house with.
That woman doesn't care about much.
Yeah,
like her response to everything is so be it. I'm not kidding. Like she'll like with anything, like all of us are like sitting in the living room, like there's like a like old like picture of like punch or something in the fridge. And like she looks at everybody in the living room is like, is anyone gonna drink this punch? And we're all just like crickets, dead silent. and so then she just tosses it into the sink and she's like, it's gone.
So
and we
be
never
it.
saw the punch. And so she loves to say so be it with life. So
Okay, that's fair. Where's Helen from?
actually, well, this is funny because she's I think she was born in Minnesota, so she's like a undercover Vikings fan in Wisconsin.
Yeah, what's the deal with you being a Packers fan? I forgot
Trickle-down effect. My dad was born in Wisconsin, so I have the trickle down Packers fan. I don't want to talk about that because
no, we don't need.
It'll make my heart tender. But
got it. Totally avoiding all that.
Anyways,
sure.
we just got into that. But yeah, no, she's from Wisconsin, and my dad like has an accent for absolutely no reason, and nobody can identify like what kind of accent it is.
Tom, what the hell, Harold? I
that's what we want to make a handle. Like if my dad had a handle, it would be
Yeah.
at Tom, what the hell, Harold.
It has to be because that's all he says.
All he says to everything is like, what the hell?
What the hell? And you're Helen's so be it.
They're tough, yeah.
Tough. Absolute brutes.
They are. They're tough. They're a tough crowd.
So, like, if Helen, like, does Helen have recommendations for dinner? Like, I'm kind of feeling sushi tonight.
Oh
Everyone
my
else
gosh.
is like pizza.
Let's get
and she's
into
like,
this.
So be it.
No, let's talk about Helen. So, my grandma's actually, as many grandmas are, a very great cook. However, her portions we need to talk about because when the whole extended family is together, like, it's a big group of people. And my grandma, like, has these measly portions, and then she also thinks everyone drinks skim milk. Like she wants everyone to drink.
I'm a huge advocate of skim milk.
No, she wants everyone to drink skim milk, and like if you don't drink the skim milk, like you're kind of like looked down upon. Like it's like you should really have the skim milk.
As a gut nutritionist, what's the whole deal with like people just like can't stomach milk, like can't even drink it?
Well, this is a crazy confession. I haven't had, maybe a glass or two, but I haven't had like maybe not even a full glass. I haven't had a full glass of like milk, like dairy milk, since 2013.
That's quite some time.
I've just had almond milk, coconut milk, everything else. I don't like it. Don't like how it makes me feel.
Got it.
The only time I ever made exceptions was around my grandma because she's like a stern believer in.
But you can like stomach it though.
We might have what happened earlier happen. I don't know. It's
right.
Maybe I could now because I take so many probiotics, but like,
right. You got to.
I don't like dairy milk because it's pumped with hormones and garbage.
Right. Yeah. So the only reason I was asking is because like I grew up, like the majority of my life was just milk and water.
Yeah.
Like all I would drink was either milk or water, and my parents would just pump us full of usually skim milk is why, and that's why I stand with
I have
Helen.
questions.
We'll get to it. But my brother, my brother like couldn't stomach it, and I don't know if he was like faking the throwing up of like automatically rejecting like how gross the taste was, but like my brother was the only one who got out of drinking milk when we were young because he would just like barf and cry when we would have to eat it or drink it.
Well, normally your food intolerances come up when you're a kid. They can come up when you're an adult, like that happened to me, but like normally they show up when you're a kid.
You have questions though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a household which I think like contributes to the fact that I had so many food intolerances. But, like, it was a 90s household. Like, it was, like, we had Gushers and we had all the fruit snacks. Like, we had one of those pantries that, like, had, like, all the snacks.
Nice.
And so, but I would strongly campaign against milk, like, white milk. Like, my brother and I only drink chocolate milk. We would only drink chocolate milk because it's sea milk. And that's the only type of milk I would ever drink. We'd go to a restaurant and I would order chocolate milk and it had to have the right amount of Hershey syrup in it. Otherwise, I'd send it back. But I was like too shy as a child, so like my parents had to like keep sending it back.
Otherwise, Helen would be like, not enough chocolate.
No, Helen.
So be.
Did you ever drink Yoj? Do you remember that?
No.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Everyone else all the interns are like, yes, we have.
Yoj was something my brother and I really liked. It was like this yogurt. I don't even know what the base was. It was like a yogurt drink. They had like berry flavor and like strawberry banana. My brother and I crushed that stuff. So it was like we had like chocolate milk, Yoj, and then like we'd drink kind of some like tap water. My dad swore by the minerals.
In tap water?
Oh my God. My dad would come back from a run and like be like, I gotta get the minerals in the tap water. And we grew up, so I grew up in this old lake house, and the sink had like this defect where like if you pressed it like a certain way, like it would spray on you. So my brother and I programmed it like when my dad would get back from his run. So he'd be like, oh, I gotta get like he's just exhausted, like ready for a drink. And he'd turn it on and he'd get like squirted in the face by the thing.
Oh God.
And this wasn't the beginning of my menacing phase.
Right.
You know,
this was just pre-menacing phase. This was just getting started in your book. What's the most menacing thing you've done in your young adolescent years?
I don't think I'm very menacing.
Okay, but just answer the question. Do you have any? I know it's kind of on the spot. But
It's totally on the
curious.
spot, and I get scared on the spot.
Okay. You can pass it off.
I mean, this is a good question.
It's a great question.
I have a lot of stories.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to like criminalize myself.
Oh wow, we're getting criminal with this. No better way to say you're a criminal than on a podcast. I've always said that.
Yeah. I'm not admitting anything.
I know. We know that. These are just stories. We don't know if they're true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Christ. Yeah, you don't have to get into it. That was just a question I thought of, off the cuff.
I don't know. I was pretty well behaved in school.
Because I haven't really done any criminal things myself. Like I'm not asking this question to have it like asked back to me. You know how people do that? I hate that.
Gross. I hate when people do that.
Oh, fires me up. Fires me up. How you doing? Oh yeah, because you want me to ask how you're doing. Or
people do that to me all the time.
Actually, sorry. More about the weekend. How's your weekend? Did some things. How's yours? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. We went fishing.
Well, why I don't like that question anyway because it's like I don't want to go through the labor of recapping my weekend.
And I think
let's move on.
And if you're a corporation and you're listening to this podcast and you're wondering why people don't want to go back to the office, I think it has everything to do with that question.
What did you do on the weekend? I mean,
imagine like never having to go back to the office and answer like questions.
Also, like
filler questions.
You don't really want to be like the most interesting one in the room with your response.
Yeah, you gotta
like you
find a
don't
medium.
because like people. That's another thing is like.
If you want to stay hidden, I guess. I'm always like, I always just give people the beans. I'm like, yeah, flew back to Minnesota and did these things for 5 days straight.
No, but then people in Minnesota are like, oh, like really, like they can't believe it.
Sure, that's fair.
So
do you need a refill on your drink or how are you looking over in your
you give
department?
me maybe just like a little floater.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
One thing I did want to ask, because I know this was a question brought up by the interns here. It was kind of when you first moved in here, and I know I think you have told me this, but also like I see it. You're just really good at living in the RV. Like you actually enjoy. Like people honestly ask me all the time at work because they know ever since they've met you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "How's Kristina doing? Is she okay?"
Yeah,
she's living in the RV, kind of no car, just hanging out all day on this farm.
I'm so comfortable.
But yeah, you I think you just whispered it, but you're genuinely like you're stoked on it. And but I gotta ask, like, what's the bathroom situation looking like? You enjoying taking laying stools in the toilet over here, or what's going on?
I think that I was so equipped coming into the situation. Like,
right, we knew that.
I mean, yeah, it's so going back. I mean, let's revert back to my grandma real quick. My grandma installed a double seated outhouse at my cabin.
Sick.
Like, this was her idea to put in like a double seater.
What's a double? Can you explain that though?
What do you mean? Like, I mean, so you want a normal outhouse? It's just like basically like a hole.
Keep going.
It's just like a hole that you do your thing in. And so my grandma was like, well, let's design it so that there's two next to each other, so you can like shit in tandem.
Wow. So you have
this is her idea.
Two poopers next to each other.
So like, first of all, my grandma introduced that at the cabin, which many people have blasted side by side. So that was like the first.
What's that like, by the way? Is that pretty cool? Just like taking poops like directly next to you.
You have to be very comfortable with the other person.
Yeah, you get poop scared or poop fright.
I don't know if I do, but like.
Oh, we know you don't, but I'm just saying other people might.
Oh, other people might. I think the scariest thing about this outhouse is that like there's a ton of spiders in there, so like you'll be like doing your thing and like shooting this peppermint essence spray that she's put in there, like because like spiders don't like peppermint.
Oh.
Anyway, so I had that exposure, and then like early quarantine, I was in this rustic cabin that didn't have running water. So if you know what an incinerating toilet is, I've never used an incinerator in my life until 2020. It's fascinating. Basically, it cremates your poop, and
does it smell bad after?
No, so like if you're walking outside like by like the exhaust from this thing, it smells like burnt toast.
Wow.
So it like makes it smell good.
Okay.
You're burning it up. Anyways, that was my first experience with that, which I think was like, I don't know, like I don't know anyone that's really done that in an incinerator. Like that was my first experience. So anyways, when I came here, it felt like a real bathroom. I think it's like it's like an airplane toilet. Like that's how I would best describe it. Yeah.
It sucks it all up.
You got to make sure there's enough water in it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's another thing. We learned a lesson on that, I think. But
yes, we did.
But then no, you like press the pedal down and it blasts off just like into outer space when you're on an airplane. But
right. It doesn't go out it stays in the airplane, right? Doesn't like go out doesn't go out into the atmosphere. Yeah, it just uses the suction of the air because there's so much.
My entire
they're going 500 miles an hour.
I thought that when you use an airplane bathroom that it just like dropped down into the sky and vaporized.
Absolutely not. Kristina Harold.
I'm not an engineer.
It doesn't take an engineer to know that. That's a fun way to think about it, though.
Maybe like someone told me that, and then it was just
right. No,
something that was ingrained in me my whole life.
Keep believing that. I'm actually going to tell people
that's way more exciting.
Way more. Yeah, it just goes into
Yeah.
once it doesn't want to utilize water, so it uses all the air that it collects. Like whenever you turn on the air above,
Oh, here we go.
I don't need to over explain this, but when you turn the air on for like your little fan or your AC for your seat, and you know how it just like blows like no tomorrow.
Yep.
It's because it's using the outside air because there's little vents.
I understand that because there's absolutely no air inside the thing.
Yeah, but there's little vents inside.
That's why people get like blood clots and have to take aspirin. And
sure, but like the plane's going very fast and collecting air at a very high rate, so the air capacity that they're able to grab is like so immediate. So they use that to flush shit down the toilet, and they use that to blow air on you to make it feel nice. Mm-hmm. And they use the aerate. Same air. All the
just
same.
Cycling the air.
Cycling the air. But yeah, no, the
that's why people get sick on airplanes.
Right. That's why it's a big old COVID scare too. But we don't get into that. Anyways, well, I'm glad you've settled in, you know?
Yeah.
I'm glad you've settled in.
Feels good.
Feels great. It's good to have you. It's fruitful. It's very fun. It's good to have a nice little teammate. It's nice to have a little girlfriend here, my sweet, sweet girlfriend. We're here on the planet. We call this place our little planet. And it's so nice. Like, I love the adventure. I love going to the Grand Canyon and hiking the Grand Canyon with you. I love going surfing big waves. I love going to Minneapolis and, you know, us going through this awesome, fruitful experience of our past home.
Yeah.
But it's cool to now have built a routine in a little area that we both call home together in this little establishment out here.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. We started this 5 months ago.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, why are you getting quiet?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Long pauses in podcasts are good too, by the way. I was just like, I was tying a bow on it. I didn't know if you had anything else to say.
No, not really. I don't know. I mean, I had a thought.
You did?
I had a thought
well,
about...
then say the thought. Come on.
I had just like a thought about like how you and I are out here and like quite literally the middle of nowhere to the point that like I was on a walk today and car reversed and asked if I was...
That was crazy.
Oh my gosh. You know what? We haven't even talked about the grounds here.
We haven't talked about the environment of the planet.
We got to do that. We got to keep people
you know
in.
what? Spill the beans.
Let's get the imagery rolling.
Yep.
Well, first of all, well, no. I just want to say like out here it's pretty rough. Like we have like the nicest RV in the entire area. Like it's I mean, there's weird stuff around here, but I was out for a walk today and I don't know if it's like weird to walk in the middle of the desert, like in 100 degrees, but like for some reason after like being here for 5 months, like 100 degrees doesn't feel that hot. So I was like out for a walk, listening to a podcast. And I always think about like, it's a little weird around here, but like, I'm fine. It'll be fine. So this car like drives past me and then like all of a sudden like accelerates really fast, like, or in reverse towards me. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And, but instead it was like a girl in the back, like probably like around our age being like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just like out for a walk. Like, thanks for checking type of thing. But that just like a testament to like the area that we're in. Like, it's like people don't go for like walks around here. I don't know.
Well, we looked it up. I mean, we looked it up. There's the population of where we live is 2,000 people. Yeah. And I don't think there's a single hot girl in the area. I think you're one of them.
And I don't try to be one. When I go for a walk, it's like it's 100 degrees. So it's like, well, what can I wear? Sports bra and like shorts because like otherwise it's boiling. But that's not, that doesn't really work out for the area here.
No, it causes problems. So we found.
Oh my God. Well, Doyle's building at. Oh, okay. Well,
now we got to build context for Doyle. Doyle's our landlord. He is building a house on the property, which I just found out I'm getting extended into next year. So there's a good chance that whole finish building this house on the property that we're living on with the RV. And there's a good chance that you and I will move into that house.
Yeah.
Assuming that we honestly have to do an evaluation of like which is better, but more likely than not, it's going to be the house because it's going to have a washer and dryer.
I have a sentimental attachment to the RV a little bit.
And yes, that's...
But the house will be nice because then we'll cut costs even further, and I think it'll be like a rustic little like pottery barn bachelor pad shack.
You hope, right? But we don't... Doyle's a cowboy. Doyle's going to be on this podcast. Doyle is our like I said, Doyle's our landlord. He is an absolute cowboy. Guy does everything not by the book whatsoever. And anyways, he's building his house on the property, and Kristina is going on a hot girl walk for one of the days on your many hot girl. Like, how many hot girl walks do you take a week? You think?
I try to do like one a day. It's not every day because I sometimes work gets in the way, but like one a day. But maybe 4 times a week.
4 times a week. So Doyle, he is having different guys show up.
Okay, Doyle is a retired bull rider.
Okay, thank you.
Absolute badass, silver fox.
Coolest dude.
He's like late 50s. Like Doyle was definitely like a stud back in the day. Like
Doyle was a stud.
Oh, we have some pictures that we got to get a hold of.
We have,
and maybe we'll bring those up like when he comes on.
Yes.
But like him like skiing in like a cowboy hat in Colorado,
in
potentially
Vail.
Potentially shirtless. Oh, that was funny.
He did say that
because I asked him. No, I was like, "Were you shirtless when you were doing this?" And he told me, "You got a cowboy.
You got a cowboy." Kristina and I have this notes. This in our notes app, we have this collection of all the different sayings that Doyle has. Like Doyle will come in. Like Guy is not here very often.
Yeah.
And like we are kind of the overseers of his humble abode land. He's got a dog. He's got a cat. We got to watch over the dog. The cat is just self-sufficient, which is great.
Yeah.
If anyone shows up or anything happens, we're kind of the first. You're kind of the first responder, Kristina, in most instances. But nonetheless, Doyle is awesome, and he'll come through, and we'll be sitting outside, and we'll just have these amazing conversations with him, and like Doyle doesn't even know what anxiety is. Like Doyle has no idea.
He doesn't. He asked us.
It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Like Kristina was like, "Yeah, I'm having anxiety or whatever."
Some anxiety about work or whatever. He was like, "What's anxiety?" He
the
has no
thing.
clue, and I'm like, "Gosh, I wish I was in a space where I did not know what anxiety was." Like,
yeah,
what a world.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
He's just about to turn 60, but like Kristina said, he's a retired professional bull rider. Retired when he was like 40.
Because he ruptured a kidney, like not by choice. Like,
yeah, not by choice. Guy is a thoroughbred of a cowboy. But anyways, he's building this house that maybe one day Kristina will live in. But nonetheless, he has people coming through here, electricians, roofers, plumbers, framers, people working on the house
random
for him.
Random
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kristina's going on these hot girl walks.
Well, this particular day, I was like, I don't really want to go for my walk because there's so many people, like random people
got a crowd
outside. And I was like,
But how many times have we worked out outside on the concrete pad out here where we just have like legitimately a crowd? It's like, we haven't even worked out yet the weekend.
Doyle's
it's
drinking
Thursday. And Doyle's out there cracking brews and nailing in frames with the fellas. There's literally like 15 people out there. And then Kristina and I are like, all right, it's Thursday and we need to go work out there. And so like we literally bust out a full-on HIIT workout in front of all these dudes, like all the time. And we just embrace it. And we did that since day 2.
Day 2, we did our first workout together. But it's like you got to get the workout in. Like you got to get it in. Doesn't matter who's around. Doesn't matter the circumstances.
We're going for the Karim Gym sponsorship.
We are. Yes.
We're going through the.
And
this comes at a cost. All right. And we want Karim Gym, the desert edition, the heat wave edition.
Heat wave.
And we want to make it happen so badly. We want a Karim Gym sponsorship so badly. That is our good buddy Brogan Graham, who has been branding the Karim gyms across the nation, and we want to be a part of it. Looking right at you, Brogan. But anyways, sorry. We keep expanding. But nonetheless, you're going on a hot girl walk, and you're about to leave the RV. There's a big crowd outside.
Well,
building the
I didn't
house.
notice anything though. I just went on my merry way and was not interrupted. I just had like the blinders up though. I was like, don't look this way because I just don't want to make eye contact. I just want to do my thing.
Because if they don't look at, if you don't see them, they don't see you, right?
I wanted it to be that way. I was creating that illusion in my mind,
Totally.
but evidently I didn't feel the eyes on me. So
Right. Well, apparently all the eyes were on you, and apparently it was a big ordeal because some random guy comes in. Like, again, Kristina and I are kind of like the people who are just like, okay, here's a new truck coming in, probably tending to a cow or the house or here to pick up something. Like, you know, we're very accepting of people who kind of just drive in through the front gates.
yeah.
Anyways, this guy drives in. His name's Steve. He was supposedly overseeing some of the house build, and he was like, oh, you know what? I heard about you. We're like, what? He goes, oh yeah, you know, you were going on that walk one day, weren't you? You're the one who lives in the RV. We're like, yeah, it's my sweet girlfriend. You're probably going on a hot girl walk, you know? And she goes, oh man, those boys almost fell off the top roof walking out of you going outside that RV. I was like, frick. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, because one of them was on a ladder or something, and he's like, I don't know. And there's no insurance, like, there's no liability insurance out there.
What better compliment, though? What better compliment to get that these boys almost died because falling off the roof because you walked out of that RV? That's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, it made me feel good on a random Tuesday or whatever day it was. I was like, sure, I'll take it. Steve.
Like, okay, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Whatever. Christ.
Yeah. I don't know.
All I gotta say is there's stories for days through the first 5 months, and I gotta imagine there's gonna be more. And you know, we miss Andrew. I think one of our interns actually mentioned we should create a stencil cutout of Andrew and have him as like a flat Stanley.
Yep.
Or maybe we call it a flat Andy.
A flat Andy.
A flat Andy. We
should
have him in the corner of all podcasts that we record without him because, you know, this is the Back Pocket, and you know, this is Andrew and I, and you know, Andrew's going to be producing the audio of this podcast. You know, he runs that portion of it, so you can't say that this isn't he isn't part of it, you know. But God, I gotta imagine we're gonna be doing more of these.
We're gonna be doing a lot of fun stuff, I think, in the next few months.
Yeah, and I think if we're gonna be expanding, you know, as a company, you know, if I'm gonna be in Arizona, Andrew's gonna be in Minnesota. Though my whole thing is, I just ever since going a couple weeks ago, I went back to Minnesota, and we went back to Minnesota, and it was a crazy time, you know. The clashing of your friend group and my friend group, having never met each other when we were in Minnesota.
Right.
The only time we ever met was actually in Arizona. But the clashing of the friend group in Minnesota and going through that whole thing and recording, you know, 3 or 4 podcasts while I was there, I was like, God damn it, dude. Like, I just miss genuine, like, conversation. I miss, like, the ability for us to just, like, pop a squat on our beaten couch.
Our beaten, decrepit, peeling couch.
and just, like, have a conversation. Like, and Zoom's fine. Don't get me wrong. Zoom's great. Like, we get to we have access to anyone in the world through a Zoom call.
Right. Yeah.
And we've been making that work, but there's just something about conversations in person and just like being able to hear this through the headphones, and like the fact that we can do this and set this up in 10 minutes and just could film it all. I don't know. I just think it's great and needs to happen more, and I want to do more of that. I genuinely want to do more of that. If that's going to take us doing like a series version of this podcast or whatever, I got to talk to Andrew. I don't know how it's going to work, but regardless, this was awesome, and I need to do more of it, Kristina.
Yeah, I love this. This is good conversation.
This is good conversation.
It was. A lot of stories came up.
Lots of stories. That's a whole part of podcasting, but I think there's far more stories to come. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to.
A lot to look forward to, which is great. God bless. How much fun. I know, like, you're probably starving right now, huh?
I was just thinking about what we're going to make for dinner.
Probably the gnocchi.
I think we're gonna have gnocchi.
We're gonna have gnocchi.
We're gonna have gnocchi.
Okay. Well, anyways, we're gonna go make gnocchi. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for making it this far in the podcast. Subscribe, give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're gonna listen to us. Please. Also, if you're already making this far and you haven't bought a Boatchella ticket, go ahead and do that. If you made it this far and you're like, God damn, I want to start my own podcast, hit us up at the Backpocket Productions on Instagram. We are a production company, and we are looking to expand. I don't really want to be a construction guy and an engineer at some point in the future, so it'd be sweet to basically produce your podcast and make a living off of it. So, Godspeed. But Kristina, how fun was that?
So fun.
You're the best. You know that?
Our life is a podcast.
You rock.
Here we are.
We're not gonna. We weren't gooey at all.
We weren't gooey. We were trying really to not be gooey, and
No.
we did a good job.
The last thing I want is people to hit play and be like, "Okay, these guys
They're
are
like,
really
yeah,
gonna talk
okay, we
about."
get it. Yeah, move along.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys met and you kissed and stuff.
No, I
and,
don't think so. I think, yeah.
You know, she is just the perfect.
Yeah,
fit.
yuck. We know that already. We don't need to expand.
No, but that was like a genuine encounter. Like that was just like fun. That was like
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
I know.
Our life is a podcast, and I think we brought that onto the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, you crushed. Great work.
I think we did a good job encapsulating
Godspeed.
who we are. Yeah.
All right. Hey, love you.
All right.
Take care. Take care.